Fundraiser for Human Rights and Recognition, reclaiming the inherent dignity of every being. Why we are raising funds. Every era has its defining struggle. Ours is the fight for recognition. In a world increasingly shaped by artificial systems, state registries, algorithmic control, and legal fictions, one truth remains clear. No system, no government, and no corporation has the authority to erase, deny, or overwrite the inherent identity of a human being. We are not statistics. We are not data points. We are not legal constructs. We are beings, each born with an innate right to exist, to be recognized, and to live freely, without coercion, registration, or forced identification. This campaign is about more than raising awareness. It is about reclaiming what is rightfully ours, the unconditional right to be recognized as persons before the law, a right that cannot be limited, abridged, or traded. This is not a theoretical fight. This is a lived struggle, occurring in courts, systems, schools, and across borders. And now, it needs your support. The problem: systemic erasure. Through statutory identity, governments across the world operate under the pretense that rights must be granted through registration, birth certificates, social security numbers, tax IDs, driver's licenses, digital accounts. These are presented as conveniences. In truth, they are tools of containment. With each registration, a statutory identity is created, one that can be licensed, controlled, taxed, and monitored. And with that identity comes the quiet erasure of the natural person, the being whose rights are not granted by law, but acknowledged by it. The right to be recognized as a person before the law is absolute under Article 16 of the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights, ICCPR. This article is a non-derogable, peremptory norm, meaning no country can lawfully override it, not even in times of emergency. Yet that is exactly what is happening. People are being forced into legal status systems in order to access basic necessities, from healthcare to education. Their rights are not upheld unless they submit to a framework that strips them of the very identity the law is supposed to protect. We are raising funds to expose, challenge, and end this systemic violation, and to establish a global precedent that affirms recognition is not a privilege of the registered, but a birthright of the being. The mission. Your donation supports a legal and public awareness campaign that is documenting violations of international law related to recognition and personhood, especially under ICCPR Article 16 and the Vienna Convention on the Law of Treaties. Filing legal actions in domestic and international venues against governments and corporations that suppress or deny these rights. Creating educational content, videos, articles, workshops, to help people understand their rights and the legal tricks used to make them unknowingly surrender those rights. Building a platform that gives individuals tools to assert recognition without registration, and stand in law without submitting to imposed status. This is not a campaign of resistance. It is a campaign of realignment, realigning law with its rightful purpose, the recognition and protection of the being. Why this matters now. The systems of control are evolving fast. Governments are transitioning to digital ID platforms. Corporations are tracking identity through biometric data and behavioral algorithms. AI systems are trained to recognize only registered or permitted identities, not natural ones. If we do not act now, we risk entering a future where identity is defined not by who you are, but by what the system says you are. This campaign is sounding the alarm and offering a real, lawful, and peaceful way to stand before the law as you truly are, not as what you're told to be. This is not about politics. It is about principle. This is not about one country. It is about universal law. This is not about resisting the system. It is about revealing the illusion so we can live beyond it. What makes this campaign different? There are many human rights campaigns in the world, but few address the root issue, recognition itself. Most work within the system, assuming the problem is misuse of laws. We go deeper. We assert that systems are illegitimate when they deny or replace the being. That recognition is not something granted after registration, but something that precedes all legal frameworks. We do not ask the system for permission to be recognized. We remind the system that it is bound by international law to recognize us already. We are also unique in that this campaign upholds peremptory norms, jus cogens, of international law as binding across all states, regardless of domestic legislation, draws on over 2 decades of legal research, jurisprudence, and lived experience in confronting courts, agencies, and AI systems, is led by those who stand outside the system, not to destroy it, but to expose its illegitimacy in denying the being, where your donation goes. Every contribution supports legal filings, including peremptory writs, judicial challenges, and evidence submissions to international bodies such as the UN Special Rapporteurs, awareness campaigns, high-impact videos, visual breakdowns, public talks, and written documentation that makes the invisible mechanisms of control visible. Development of an independent legal AI assistant that helps individuals assert their absolute rights and navigate coercive systems. Platform hosting and distribution to ensure knowledge remains accessible, uncensored, and globally shareable. Direct advocacy, support to individuals facing systemic denial of their rights. Your funds help not just with theory, but with direct action. What's at stake? If we fail to act, we normalize a world where identity is a service, not a state of being. We accept digital slavery through consent buried in forms, apps, and procedures. We surrender future generations to systems that claim to recognize people, while only managing legal fictions. But if we succeed, we affirm a legal foundation that no system can override. We protect every being's right to exist without submission or branding. We reclaim law as a servant of the people, not their master. You are not donating to a cause. You are standing with a truth. That being is not negotiable, and recognition is not optional. A final word to the donor. You have no obligation to give. That's what makes your donation powerful. The systems we fight force participation. We invite voluntary action rooted in conscience, the very foundation of lawful existence. This campaign does not ask you to believe in a movement. It asks you to recognize what is already true, that the being is primary, that recognition cannot be denied, that the law is only valid if it serves the being, not the other way around. If this resonates with you, please contribute. If you cannot give, share this message. If you have legal or technical expertise, reach out to join the cause. One being can spark awareness. Many beings can ignite transformation. But it begins with the first step, recognition. Thank you for walking with us. Please see the link provided in the description of this video.